Welcome back to Eternal Beauty Interviews. Let's get into it.
Hi, my name is Tessa and I am the lash educator here at Eternal Beauty.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started in the beauty industry?
I have two girls, 4 and 9, so that is pretty much what I do outside of working. I started my career as an esthetician back in 2015, I believe, 2014 maybe. I started and took the full esthetician program. Shortly after that, found myself with child. So I went on kind of a mat leave right out of school. During that time, I was bored on mat leave and I took a lash course and fell in love strictly with lashing, which wasn't part of the esthetician course back then. I took my first lash course in classics with Eyebrow Academy, and subsequently I did that for 2 years, practiced my classics, and then moved on to my hybrid and volume and actually trained in Las Vegas with Sassy Lashes at the time, then Live Bay, and now they have moved and are named Oliver Lashes. So my oldest friend, Jen, is an educator here at Eternal Beauty. So I've been hearing about it since she started here, which was the beginning of Eternal Beauty. And I've always kind of been interested in keeping my ear open, kind of if there was a lash position that came up, and one happened to come up. So I snagged it.
How long have you been lashing, and has your style evolved over time?
I have been lashing for, this is my 9th year. My style has evolved not only in the sets I do, but also the experience that I give my clients. With style, obviously, just with the practice, my sets are way better than they were back then. I've kind of honed in my craft of what extensions I like to use, how dark, whether it's the matte or glossy, all that kind of stuff. More of my personality comes out now. I'm very sarcastic. I like to make people laugh, things like that. So I try and incorporate that into all my experiences for my clients. Whereas before I tried to be very proper in what I thought people wanted out of a beauty service provider. And I've had much more success being myself and it coming authentically.
What really made you fall in love with lashing itself over anything on the esthetician side?
My favorite part of full aesthetics was more the skincare area. I wasn't good at all at nails, so like gel, acrylic, anything like that. I thought it was too tedious, which is very interesting that then I went into lashes, which is even more tedious or the same level. For me, it was realizing how hard it is to actually lash. It's not something you just learn and then know how to do. And I was just determined to practice and get it perfect and how I wanted it. And there's so many different aspects with retention, with styles and all that.
What lash service do you most enjoy?
My favorite lash service to perform would be YY lashes. They give such a nice look, like a nice full textured look. I also love a good lash lift though. That's another one. You can just take someone's natural lash that doesn't look like much maybe on their face, and then a simple little hour-long service, and it just like gives so much. My favorite to teach, I do like teaching the handmade volume fans. I'm just seeing like your student look at something and be like, okay, how do I do this? And then within 5 minutes, they've got it down.
What made you want to get into teaching?
I've been doing strictly lash services as well for 9 years, and I just wanted to do something different and kind of get my brain like thinking a different way and challenge myself a little bit. So I definitely wanted the new era of lash techs to do everything properly and go back to like basics of how it's supposed to be done.
How would you describe your lashing style in one sentence?
My lashing style would be inclusive. If there is something that a client brings to me, whether it's a new style, new look, anything like that, I will take it on and I will try and give them what they're looking for.
What's one common misconception people have about lash extensions?
That they cause damage. If lash extensions are done properly, there should be no damage to the natural lash.
What's the biggest challenge lashing that you have overcome over the years?
The biggest one would definitely be setting boundaries with my clients. I wanted to take everyone whenever I could, regardless of how it affected my schedule, and I'm way happier now that I have those boundaries set.
What's something students often struggle with at first?
Or the comment I hear all the time is, wow, this is harder than I thought it would be.
How do you help develop their own lash style?
In my class, we talk a lot about actual interactions that I've had with clients and what I suggest and how to speak with people, because we're in the industry where if you're having a bad day but somebody likes you, they will return to you. So I believe a lot of it is clients will be patient with you as you're learning, as long as you give them that personal touch to everything.
What trends or techniques do you emphasize most in your classes?
Wispy sets, those are very popular, so we do go over those. I do shout from the rooftops YY lashes. They have been the top seller since I've brought them in 3 years ago to my own business. They have been the top seller for 3 years straight by a landslide. Don't need much more technique than what you have learning classics. So that is a trend, I'd say, that is here to stay, for me at least, that I really push on students.
What's the difference between a YY lash and a classic?
A classic lash is a 1-to-1 ratio. YY is 1-to-1 as well, except it splits at the tip. So you are actually getting more volume. It looks like a Y, if you can picture that. Just the same amount of work as a classic set.
What's the most important lesson from your years as a lash tech that you pass on?
As I mentioned before, the boundaries is a big one, but also just be nice to people. Like that is, as mentioned before, we're in a service industry, you're one-on-one with a client with lashes specifically. You just want to get to know them and what they like, and not every client will be for you, and that's okay.
How do you help students prepare to work with real clients?
So a lot of the confidence with a student does come from the models that we do here. I have an approach where the first lash set that they do, I handhold a little bit more, and then I gently step back here and there unless they need me, so that I'm not hovering. It puts that trust that I have in my student as well, and trusting that they will ask me when they do have questions. And a lot of the times they know a lot more than they think they know. So when they're doing a model and they're like, okay, what do I do next? They know it's just because I'm kind of hovering over them. So I think they do have a lot of that confidence. It's just kind of giving them a little shove towards it, and that builds it up for sure.
What's your advice for someone thinking about becoming a lash tech?
Take an in-person class. Don't learn it on YouTube, don't learn it online. It is invaluable to have that hands-on, being able to ask questions with this type of service.
What do you think sets successful lash techs apart from the rest?
I believe, again, it goes back to just your interpersonal skills with people. As I mentioned, I've had bad days. They return to me because maybe on a bad day, if I know I've screwed up royally, I send them a text after and say, hey, apologize, wasn't on my game. The next time you come back, I'm gonna give you X amount percentage off, just because the vibe was off between us. And it's okay to do that, because then they'll trust you that you're constantly going to be doing your best, even if you have an off day.
What's the most rewarding part of being a lash instructor?
Seeing when a student just gets it. If they're struggling and then they're like, oh my God, I got it. And I can actually tell them like, yeah, that's perfect. That's exactly what you need to do. I love seeing their little confidence grow.
What's something about your journey that people would be surprised to learn?
I guess how I separate, I've had a lot of personal things happen during my lash career. I have, for example, like I lost a sibling, and during that time I still showed up to work, kind of put it on the back burner, did take time off. It was during COVID, so I had a little bit of a break, but coming back in and not letting that affect my work. And it was nice to kind of have that break between the two. Another thing also is I opened up my shop 2 days before the province shut down with COVID. So that was a struggle, having a commercial lease for 2 years without any services, getting through that. So that's something else that usually shocks people when I tell them.
How has teaching changed your perspective on the beauty industry or in your own work?
Teaching has changed my perspective in the fact that I am not surprised, but how much the practice of this service is important. I always say that it's not necessarily a service that you can learn, get a certificate in, and then you're off to the races and have fully booked clients. It's definitely something practice. Changed my perspective, where even when I began doing lashes, it's changed and then evolved even more watching my students build their client list.
What would you say to your future students at Eternal Beauty?
I would say just practice, hone your craft, don't lose confidence, and if you stick to it, I promise you will get it.
Thank you so much, Tessa.
No problem.
We'll see you in the next one.
Yeah, for sure. See ya.